So any of the calculations we've done, I kind of gave you the suggestion of be prepared to do those calculations in any direction. I think it just helps kind of link those together in our brain and like what steps are needed, and kind of getting away from like memorizing, oh, I need this conversion, and instead understanding, what our units are and how we change those units. So for this problem, right, if I start with atoms, we'll make our roadmap first, right? If I start with oxygen atoms, right, we know we can use the formula to go from atoms of oxygen to actual molecules of caffeine. Now that we're dealing with molecules, we know we can relate that to moles, and then once we're in moles, we can relate that to our mass in grams in this case. All right, so we'll start with oxygen atoms, 1.5 times 10 to the 19, all right, oxygen atoms. We go to the formula, right? The formula tells us in every one molecule, there are 2 oxygen atoms. I feel like they're always rearranging stuff when I'm down here working, right? So that's in one molecule. All right, again, unit analysis, oxygen atoms cancel out, and we're left with molecules of caffeine. So I've got 1.5 times 10 to the 19. All right, divide that by 2. So 7.5 times 10 to the 18 molecules of caffeine. All right, that's step 1. Step 2, 7.5 times 10 to the 18 molecules. All right, what do we need at the next step to go from molecules to moles? Yeah, here, right, we want molecules to cancel out. So we're going to use the same conversion factor, just we're going to use the inverse, right? We're going to flip it over because now I want to be left with moles, right? In 1 mole, I know I've got 6.02 times 10 to the 23 molecules. So same steps, just a different order, right? And we're changing the numerator denominator. Molecules cancel out. All right, molecules cancel out. We divide by Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23. And I get 1.25 times 10 to the minus 5 moles in this case. And now, how do we get to our final answer? Do we want to divide by grams or? Yeah, we want to multiply, right? We know in 1 mole, the molar mass tells us we want moles to cancel out. In 1 mole, I need 194.2 grams. So moles cancel out. We multiply by 194. But those are the mistakes that people make, right? If you don't write it out, you might accidentally divide when you mean to multiply, all right? It's times 194.2, and I get something like, I would say 2.42 times 10 to the minus 3 units would be grams, all right? Because moles canceled out. And so that's where I would say, like, writing out the units helps, making sure making sure those units cancel out would help you get there. And then for Mason's question from the last one about sig figs, I would say, again, 3 sig figs because we started with 1.50. There's 3 sig figs there. Maybe we measured that many oxygen atoms, or at least we started with a number that had 3 sig figs. So I would just keep it as 3 significant figures here as well.